Welcome to the Something Happened Talk Show, Seniors Accounts of Overcoming Challenges, with your host, Dr. Veronica R. Lynch. Over the next hour, Dr. Lynch and her guests will recall epiphanous moments in their lives and maybe even inspire you to share your own. Now, here is your host, Dr. Veronica R. Lynch.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our show, Something Happened, Seniors Accounts of Overcoming Challenges. I am your host, Dr. Veronica R. Lynch, and I am super excited to be here with you today. Thank you for tuning in, and for the next hour, I hope you find the show uplifting, enjoyable, and empowering. Today, we have a wonderful guest, Santos, who will be talking on the topic From Dark Night of the Soul to Spiritual Awakening. Inherent in our human evolution, many experience a dark night of the soul where inner chaos leads to awakening, expansion, and growth. Our soul, the light of our being, the divine part of us that is connected to all that is us, guides us through the eyes of love to a remembrance of who we truly are and our purpose on this earth. Sometimes it is only through pain and suffering that we can let go of the attachment to fear that the ego uses to control our life and keeps us from remembering and experience our true essence, which is unconditional love. Love is the alchemy that allows us to return home to our highest and truest self. Santos, modern-day shaman and voice alchemist, is a sought-after spiritual teacher and transformational leader who channels powerful activations, delivers talks and workshops, empowering heart-centered leaders, entrepreneurs, change makers, creative healers, and messengers to unleash their soul's genius and show up in the world as their most brilliant and authentic self. She is a bridge to the soul and a vessel for many ascended beings, angelic, galactic, and earthly, channeling healing sounds, light language, and activations that work on the cellular level to bring forth healing, awakening, and evolution. One of her greatest gifts is as an activator of the Christ consciousness. Anumani is also an artist and the international best-selling author of Unmasking Your Soul, A Transformational Journey of Truth, Light, and Healing, Book 1, and contributing author to the award-winning anthology Pebbles in the Pond, Transforming the World, One Person at a Time, Way 4. She is the forthcoming author of Unmasking Your Soul, Activating the Sacred Mysteries of the Divine Heart, Book 2. I am super excited to welcome our wonderful guest, my friend and heart sister, Santos. Anumani, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and especially with you, my sister.
Yay, thank you. Oh my gosh, let's just jump right into this. The title of your topic is From Dark Night of the Soul to Spiritual Awakening. What does the dark night of the soul mean to you?
Yeah, it's a period in your life where you're going through some difficult challenge, really with the purpose to realize something that maybe you haven't until that point realized. And for me, I know that our soul helps to co-create all the experiences we have to help us remember more of who we are, and, who we're meant to be in this life. So when I talk about Dark Night of the Soul, it was a very challenging time in my life where I could feel, I didn't know it at the time, but I know now that it was my soul tapping me saying, hey, you need to wake up. You know, it's like we come into human form with what I call spiritual amnesia and not recognizing that we're more than this human body. So I was going through a really tough time. And I know now that it was my soul taking me through that difficult challenge so that I could wake up and start to remember why I was really here.
Wow. Thank you. And can you tell us what actually led to your dark night of the soul and how did you overcome it?
Yes. So it really is connected to the marriage that I was in and really just my life in general. So, you know, I didn't start out doing the spiritual work that I'm doing now. I was an electrical engineer and worked in corporate in different jobs. And at the time when I was going through this dark night of the soul, I was actually a consultant and was working in New York City. And my husband at the time, we were having difficulties in our marriage. And it was a really difficult time because on the outside to other people, I was so good at putting on masks. And I think that's part of why the title of my book is Unmasking Your Soul. Pretending to be somebody that I wasn't. And I was pretending everywhere. I was pretending at work because I felt I needed to pretend to fit in. That was a belief that I had. I was pretending in my marriage, was keeping it a secret what was really happening with my family. But yet my family knew that that something wasn't quite right. And it was actually a dream that I had. It was so lucid that I remember all the details to this day. It was October of 2003. And in the dream, I was in an elevator, and there were 3 women with me in the elevator, and I was in a skyscraper, so it was symbolic of me working in New York City. And all of a sudden, the cable breaks loose, and it starts to go really fast and makes a hole through the side of the building and starts skimming over a really dark, muddy river, which I now know represented my emotions. I was in this sea of mud, of darkness, just feeling, it was so bad that I started to get sick. I was having episodes of fainting spells, and the doctors couldn't find anything. And in the dream, I saw an angel on the bank of the river. She was dressed in white robes, and she pulled me out of the elevator. And I remember losing my wedding ring in the dream, which was symbolic of what was coming. But it was the voice that I heard. I heard this powerful voice say to me, "My child, I have a mission for you. You're not going to understand what it is right now, but be patient, because in time, it will all be revealed." And so I woke up from that dream knowing that I needed to leave this marriage. It had been verbally abusive. I didn't feel I could be myself. But yet there was a part of me that had gone into the marriage, giving it a chance. There were a lot of religious beliefs that got in the way, like, oh my God, I was married in the church. How am I going to get a divorce? All these inner critics and voices of the ego coming up in that moment. But the dream was so strong and that voice was so strong. It melted all those voices away. And I knew that no matter what anybody else said, I had to leave that marriage. And I did. I mean, I took steps to, we first separated and then ended up getting a divorce. But it was like the dream alchemized all the fears that were in the way of me taking that action. Action that I had felt before, but was too afraid to actually do. But that dream gave me this courage. And it reminds me of one of my paintings, The Spiritual Warrior. which is about embodying that divine power so you can step forward on your journey no matter what other people say. And I had tons of people telling me, what are you doing? You know, are you sure you really want to get a divorce? You know, my parents were the first ones to say that to me. And I had to really just embody that courage and that spiritual warrior and say, yes, I know this is what I need to do. And I know now that the nudge was really coming from my soul. My soul knew that relationship, while it had served me, right, because I learned so much in it of what wasn't working, but also there were beautiful moments between us. But the dream gave me the courage to step out of that. The part of me that felt that I needed to stay in something that wasn't healthy. And so I did. I stepped forward. I kept moving on that nudge and the courage. And it was a really powerful time in my life.
Wow. That is such an amazing experience that you've overcome. And how did the dark night of the soul help you awaken spiritually? You talked about spiritual amnesia and the need to awaken. How did this experience help you to awaken spiritually?
Yeah, so for those who may have studied like the chakra centers, the crown center, which is at the center of the top of your head, is the connection point. So from the heart up are the spiritual centers. And the fainting spells were signs that my crown was trying to open, to connect into these higher energies, higher dimensions. But the part of me that was scared of not fitting in the world, because that really has been a big fear for me most of my life, and even as a child, was resisting that. So dark night of the soul, I think it gets so painful that the only recourse you have is to just surrender and go, okay, I can't do this anymore. God, just please help me. Like, you know, what do I need to do? And I was in that place. It was so painful. And it was affecting my health that I just said, okay, I can't do this anymore. And those are the words I said to my ex the day that I told him. I said, I can't do this anymore. And so there was this complete surrender from my part to listen to the words, to the energies, to the essence of the dream that I experienced, and step into living into that.
Wow. Yes. And I love when you said get to the place where you realize you need help and you can't do it anymore. You have to reach out for help and accept that help to move forward. So what happened after your dream of awakening?
Yeah, it was a painful time for a bit, you know, because, gosh, there were all these limiting beliefs that I was, you know, trying to heal at the same time that I was, you know, it was a complete transformation of,
Wow.
oh my God, like, I'm not really supposed to be an engineer. Like, I believe everything happens for a reason, right? Every experience is co-created by your soul, and everything has a divine timing. But it's like, all of a sudden, I'm being told that there's something else I'm here to do. Have no idea what that is. And I'm also going through a divorce. So it was very challenging. But I reached out to some friends, and one of my friends said to me, she said, you know, I know this guy, he's an energy healer. I didn't even know what that meant back then. And she goes, you know, he's doing like this meditation class. Like, why don't you go? And so she introduced me to him. And it was so funny. This guy used to be an accountant and then also had, you know, his own dark night of the soul and woke up to his purpose. And so I sat in his meditation class, and it was a small group of people, maybe 8 to 10, mostly women. And I remember this one woman coming up to me at the end of the class, and she said, you know, what do you do for a living? And at the time, I had moved into a different position, and I was actually heading up a marketing department. But I had already started doing these paintings, which I had no idea what they were. They were just being channeled. And I said, yeah, I'm in marketing. And she goes, do you know you're supposed to be a healer? And it resonated with me, but I didn't even know what that meant back then. But It was that moment, right, that then piqued my curiosity. Okay, well, what does this really mean? And I just kept taking more classes with this guy. And he would do these healing sessions where he worked with your aura, and he would use his hands to kind of put his hands in your aura, and he would see images of past lives, and he started to help me understand, that one of the reasons I was in that marriage was because we had some karma together. We had some past lives together. And I started really working on myself. So it was through this gentleman that I started to understand more what energy healing was, and started to get some healing myself so that I could move through this painful time in my life. Because there were days where I would, leave the day job, go into my car and just be sobbing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really, really tough time.
Wow. That is quite something. And I wanted to, we're going to be taking a short break in a second. In fact, we should probably go to break now. So we will be taking a short commercial break. And when we return, we'll continue our discussion on from Dark Night of the Soul to Spiritual Awakening with our amazing guest, Anumani. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, out of sorts, and need to get away from the chaotic hustle and bustle of your busy life, Blissed, an inward sanctuary plus wellness retreat center, is a place where individuals and couples can schedule a 1 to 3 day stay to unwind, rest, and relax. Gather your thoughts and get into alignment with your body, mind, and spirit. During your retreat at Blissed, you'll have the opportunity to take advantage of a range of amenities and services, or just enjoy time being with yourself in a contemplative, sacred healing space. After your stay at Blissed, an inward sanctuary plus wellness retreat center, you will leave refreshed, rejuvenated, and renewed. To customize your retreat program, call 347-526-5116 or email vlynch@createwhole.com.
Voice America programs are now available on your favorite connected device, including Amazon, Alexa, and Google Home. Through streams with Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio, listening to your favorite show is as easy as saying the show name followed by the word podcast.
Hey, Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast.
If that doesn't work, try adding on TuneIn or on iHeartRadio or on Apple Podcasts.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You are listening to the Something Happened Talk Show, seniors' accounts of overcoming challenges. If you have a question for Dr. Lynch or her guests, or you want to share your story, please join us on the show at 888-346-9141. That's 888-346-9141. Now back to the show with Dr. Veronica R. Lynch.
Welcome back. Welcome back to our show. Before the break, we were talking with our great guest, Anumani, spiritual teacher and voice alchemist, on the topic From Dark Night of the Soul to Spiritual Awakening. So, Anumani, I wanted to ask you, what is your definition of soul, and why is it important for us to reconnect with our soul?
Yes. So in my book, Unmasking Your Soul, my guides and what I was channeling gave me sacred openness to universal love. And to me, soul is that higher part of you. It's the soul communicates to you through your higher self. It is the part of you that is connected to all that is. I believe that we carry wisdom from other lifetimes that we've lived. And so your soul accumulates all that wisdom over lifetimes, and even gifts of spiritual gifts that you hold, like healing gifts or singing gifts, writing gifts. Like all those are gifts that come in through other experiences that you've had. So this soul part of you is made out of light, out of consciousness, and it loves you unconditionally. And I think that's why in my book they said it was sacred openness to universal love, because your soul is never going to treat you in a negative way. It's always going to uplift you and hold you in that place of love. And we have been conditioned, right, when we take human form, that's why I was talking about the spiritual amnesia, to not connect with this part of you. This part of you is the part of you that when you feel, people talk about intuition. It is the part of you that's bringing signs, messages, knowingness to help guide you. So I like to think of the soul as your teacher, your guide, your healer, the alchemist, all these things. And it loves you unconditionally. And it wants the best for you. And so that's why, to me, reconnecting with that part of you is so important, because we've been conditioned to look outside of us for information, for validation, and yet it all begins inside of us. Mm-hmm. And that was my big insight throughout my life. Like, oh my God, I've been seeking outside of me for what is really already within me. And it was through the reconnection with my soul where I started to recognize that it all starts within you. And your best guidance is going to come from that place.
Yes. And how does one determine if they are connected to their soul?
Yeah, it can be subtle and then can expand. I mean, initially it might just be a feeling you have in your body. And a good example might be you're trying to make a decision about something, and you're kind of tuning in inside of you, and you just get this feeling like, you know what, this is really not good for me. That nudge is coming from that part of you. And I do an exercise with my clients where I actually have them envision, like, a replica of their body, of a soul, their soul standing behind them or in front of them, so that they can start to feel the energy. What does it feel like? Because this is the divine part of you. What does it feel like to be in the presence of your own divinity? And so there's many different ways to do this. That's one of the exercises I do. And then I actually have them imagine their souls stepping into their body so they can feel that divinity inside of them, like actually sitting inside of them. And your soul isn't separate from you, but it's just a good way to begin to practice, okay, let me call forth, and using words. Spoken word is very important. The words carry power. So invoking your soul and say, I call forth my soul to be present here with me now. Mm-hmm. And imagining your soul like sitting in your body. And then you can expand from that. Like I use journaling as a way to connect in with my soul, and meditation, right? Where I get messages. People talk about automatic writing, where you may ask a question and put it in your heart and asking your soul to answer, and then just let the pen move on the piece of paper And without judgment, writing whatever's coming through, that's another way to connect with this higher part of you. So many different ways, and you just have to tune into, okay, how does my soul want to communicate with me? I get a lot of messages through, animals, being in nature. Sometimes, just riding in my car and I see a truck that has, a word on it, and I go, oh my God, that message is for me. Or I'm watching a movie, right? And I go, oh my God, that's the answer to what I was asking. So it's about paying attention, because your soul is going to try to get your attention. And we get so immersed in the noise outside of us that we don't pay attention to what's right in front of us.
Yes, thank you for those tips. I love that question that you asked, how does my soul want to communicate with me? I think that's a very important question for one to ask himself or herself. In your bio, you mentioned you are a bridge to the soul and a vessel for many ascended beings. Can you talk more about this?
Yes, and that's kind of like the shamanic part, the shaman in me. I've been a shaman many lifetimes, a healer. People have different words for them, curandera in Spanish. And it's about being able to travel through these different dimensions and energies. And my focus is on bringing those different vibrations and frequencies to bring healing and awakening and activation. So I work with many different beings. When I talk about ascended beings, I'm talking about, beings that are, above fifth dimension, who carry energies and insight and wisdom, who have been able to ascend to these heights of embodiment, some who've been in human form and some who have not. And I'm able to connect and be a bridge. When I say a bridge, I'm also bridging into the soul of people. So when I, am working with somebody, I get messages from their soul, because maybe they're not at a place where they're yet able to, or they need validation. And when we're first starting, sometimes we need help to open that space to trust what's coming through. So I'm able to bridge into their soul and get messages for them. And also, bring in my guides, which come from different places. I work with galactic guides, Assyrian guides from the planet Sirius. They call themselves Ishtar. But I also work with a lot of the Christed energies, like Jesus, Yeshua, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, work with elemental energies, like those are energies from the earth and the fairies and the unicorns and other galactic beings, and also goddesses and deities like Isis and Kali. All, to me, are different faces of God, goddess, bringing in different frequencies, wisdom, vibrations, wisdom that we carry from ancient times. Wisdom from Lemuria and Atlantis, from ancient civilizations, where this wisdom was known and was practiced. And I've been told that I'm here to bring a lot of that ancient wisdom into modern times, really as a vehicle to help humanity remember who they really are, which is beyond this human body, that they are a soul incarnate in this human body, and that love is their true essence. So I work with all these different energies, vibrations, ascended beings, deities, that they actually come into my body. These days, I've evolved to that place where they're embodying me more and bringing messages. But mostly, I just want to say love. Love is the foundation of all of this, of really remembering that your essence is love.
Yes.
And it's the alchemy, right? Love is the alchemy that heals the ego parts of you that have been separated out because of trauma, pain, experience.
Wow.
And it doesn't know that it came from the light. And so we help that part of us come back into the light.
Wow. And you mentioned that our true essence is unconditional love. I just wanted to ask, what does unconditional love look like for you on a daily basis? Does it consist of self-care? And if so, do you have a favorite self-care ritual you can share with us?
Yes, I mean, meditation is something I do every day. I use prayer a lot, and my prayers have shifted over time. I'm using prayer also to kind of invoke the energies that I want to hold for that day, like saying to myself, yes, I am love, or I am a divine being of light. Reminding ourselves of our true essence and using prayer and words as part of my morning ritual to anchor me in that energy. And, using intention. Intention is really important with energy because we are energy. And setting the intention, that it's going to be a wonderful day and that I'm going to get whatever guidance and support I need from both the physical realm and the spiritual realms to help me have a wonderful day. So those are all things, and journaling is a big part of my ritual that I have on a daily basis. And then I kind of pay attention. I have other self-care, like I understand now that our body really is our temple, and it's the temple for the light that we are. And so we have to take care of it. So I have a very, a routine that I follow. Every 2 weeks, I'm going to acupuncture to get treatment. I get massages, every 2 weeks, because I know that, when people talk about mind, body, spirit, you have to do self-care to all those parts of you. And so the body is a part that, I would ignore many times. I was very conditioned to work, and also work was a way of avoiding the stuff that was coming up inside of me. And so now I'm really paying attention to my body and kind of trying to bring all those parts of me together, the mind, body, and spirit, and treating all of those parts of me with love.
Yes, I love that. Our body is a temple that holds the light. I love that. What is a voice alchemist?
So it's a term that I use to the energy healing work that I do is through my voice. And I'm an alchemist, and alchemy really is turning one substance into another. And so through these beings that I channel, sometimes it's song, sometimes it's just sound, sometimes it's words spoken, sometimes it's light language. Through those vibrations and frequencies that are coming through one of those means, through my voice, I'm helping to shift something within the people who are receiving what I call a transmission. So it's a transmission of sound that's coming through my voice that's helping to, Jesus, Yeshua likes to call it, melting away what's in the way. And as you melt away what's in the way, it's like you are allowing more of that love to embody you, more of your light to be present within you. And so the voice alchemy is going into the places within your body to help create the space for more love and light to be embodied within you.
Wow. That's powerful. So profound. Thank you. I have a question that I'd like to ask you about light language. I want to know, what is light language? And also, would you be willing to give a short demonstration of light language to our listeners? We are on the cusp of another break. So if we have to break, we will pick up when we return from the break. But yes, what is light language?
Yes, light language is, I like to call it the language of the soul. And it brings in sounds, vibrations, frequencies that go into the cellular structure of our being. And there are many different languages of light. Some are galactic, so from the stars, from the different planets. Some are angelic light language, and some are from earthly, so earthly spirits, the language that would be more connected to like Mother Earth. And when you speak that language, I asked my guides when this first started to come in, like, why was the channeling coming in the light language? And they said, because it transcends the ego mind. And so your human mind may not understand what's being said because it's in another language, and it's holding specific vibrations and frequencies and light codes. But your soul understands the language, and it goes wherever it needs to go. So sometimes the purpose of it is to heal. It's trying to melt something away that's blocking you from opening your heart more, for example. And sometimes it's actually activating something in you. So, we all carry these seeds and these gifts within us of gifts that we're meant to express in the world. And so when the light language is spoken, it can activate those seeds within you and allow those gifts to come through. So if you're a healer, for example, then we can open the space for those healing gifts to come through. If your intuition is blocked, we can open that up so that you can use your intuition more. So that's how I use light language. And I it's not something you control. This is all about surrendering and being the vessel. And so I tell people, I'm just the vessel. It's all coming through me. It's already intelligent. It knows where it needs to go, and we just need to receive it and surrender to it.
I love that. I see that we are coming up on another short break. So when we return, we'll just pick up where we left off. And we'll also continue with our discussion on Dark Night of the Soul to Spiritual Awakening. So stay with us. Don't go away. We will be right back.
If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, out of sorts, and need to get away from the chaotic hustle and bustle of your busy life, Blissed, an inward sanctuary plus wellness retreat center, is a place where individuals and couples can schedule a 1 to 3 day stay to unwind, rest, and relax. Gather your thoughts and get into alignment with your body, mind, and spirit. During your retreat at Blissed, you'll have the opportunity to take advantage of a range of amenities and services, or just enjoy time being with yourself in a contemplative, sacred healing space. After your stay at Blissed, an inward sanctuary plus wellness retreat center, you will leave refreshed, rejuvenated, and renewed. To customize your retreat program, call 347-526-5116 or email vlynch@createwhole.com.
Where can you listen to some of the world's top life coaches ready to dish out success tips and entrepreneurial guidance? The Voice America Empowerment Channel will do just that. Whether it's personal growth, building a better business, or inspirational life stories, make it a daily habit to tune into our programs. From weight loss and personal branding to law of attraction and increased happiness, you'll find it every day at VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com. The Voice America Empowerment Channel. It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You are listening to the Something Happened Talk Show, seniors' accounts of overcoming challenges. If you have a question for Dr. Lynch or her guests, or you want to share your story, please join us on the show at 888-346-9141. That's 888-346-9141. Now, back to the show with Dr. Veronica R. Lynch.
Yes, welcome back to our show. And if you are just joining us, we are talking with our guest, Anumani Santos, modern-day shaman and voice alchemist, on the topic from dark night of the soul to spiritual awakening. Just before we left, we were talking about what is light language, and Anamani is going to give us a short demonstration of light language. And here you go, Anamani.
Thank you. So I'm going to invite everyone listening to just close your eyes for a moment and to take a deep breath in and bringing that breath down into your heart. And sometimes it helps if you just place your hands on your heart so you can bring your awareness there. And breathing in again and out. And then we're going to do it one more time. Breathing in and out. And I just want you all to just place the intention in your heart that you're going to receive whatever it is you need to receive as the light language comes through. Initara salakhala unitai sanaito. Nishtatuara la khalaiti turinati tai soranaita. Ula khalati ture interase turenaita. Nitara ukala khalati turenasi. Nishta ot yer nast iera. Ule khala orenati shotera esta. And taking a deep breath. And just breathing all that in and allowing it to move through you into every atom, every molecule, every cell of your being. And just allowing, not questioning, and maybe at some point you'll get more. There isn't always a direct translation for the light language, but the essence of what was coming through was energy to remind you that you are a child of light, that you are a precious being, that you are so deeply loved, and that the more you embrace that truth and surrender to it, that the more you will experience that within you and in the world around you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. What a great blessing. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. Wow. So, wow, I'm having goosebumps. Oh, wow. Amazing. I wanted to ask you, could you share one huge disappointment in your life, and how did you overcome this disappointing experience?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and I'm not sure there's been, I feel like there were times when I felt a huge disappointment in myself, like with the whole marriage thing and not being able to make it work. But that was coming from the ego part of me and not the soul part of me. And now I understand that even the disappointments in my life, where maybe there was something that I really wanted and I wasn't able to achieve it, that there was a reason for that. Many times the disappointment is because something isn't in alignment with what you are needing to be doing or being in the world. And so I think for myself, I can look back and there's been many disappointments, but I know now that it's coming from a different place, that my soul is co-creating experiences that may feel like a disappointment or a challenge in my life, but that underneath all that, there's a blessing, because it's helping me to find the places within me where I need to bring more love, where my ego is holding something that doesn't serve me, like a limiting belief around who I am to be in this world, or holding on to an identity. That was something I had to work on, like letting go of my corporate identity And even though I still have a foot kind of in that world, I now can see it from a different place. So for me, disappointments actually have led to a deeper understanding and awakening of what I'm really here to do and the places where I need to shine more light and love to bring those parts of my ego back into the light.
Wow. Thank you. And what inspired you to write your international best-selling book, Unmasking Your Soul?
Yeah, I felt like I was being tapped on the shoulder for a long time and felt stuck, just like couldn't get the words out. I didn't know what the book was going to be. I had been told by somebody also, like, you're supposed to write like all these books. And I felt like I needed help. And I was actually watching, it was a Lisa Nichols Speak and Write to Make Millions. And I had bought a virtual seat. And onto the stage came Christine Closer, who has been my book mentor and helped me birth my book. And she started to tell her story. And there was this soul recognition. Like, I knew that she was the one who was supposed to help me birth my book. So I took her, I joined her course, Get Your Book Done. And I remember at the time I was going through a tough time, and I didn't even have the money to like pay for the course. And my mom paid for my first installment on the course. And I was so grateful for that. And after that, things changed for me, and I was able to, I was in transition between consulting jobs, and seeing her on stage and feeling the energy of her own story, like, opened up something in me. And it was through the Get Your Book Done. And then I joined her Master Heart, where, I think for the first time, I felt seen. I hadn't felt seen in that way by anybody else. Like, I felt all my life I had felt different, misunderstood, trying to hide who I really was because I didn't feel safe being in who I really was. And it was with Christine that I started to open up. And it was in a writing retreat where I got my spiritual name, Anumani, which means the omniscient jewel of compassion and love. And, working in living that compassion and love. And it was through her writing retreats where the words started to come through. And, I got the title of the book, and it was a process. It took me 15 months to write the book.
Wow.
And there were challenging moments when I had to just put it to the side because I wasn't in the right vibration. And the book really is about integrating different aspects of your soul, and there's 12 aspects. And, the first aspect is divine love. And in the book, they're called soul chambers of light. And so what we're doing, as I have a coaching program around this, is we are opening those aspects within you so you connect with that part of your soul: divine love, divine power, divine worthiness, divine truth, divine purpose, divine voice, divine wisdom, divine mind, divine passion, divine devotion, and divine Christ consciousness. And so there's these different levels that you're working through. And by the time you get to the 12th chamber, you are really embodying more of who you are and more of who you came here to be in this lifetime. It's very powerful work. It's a huge book. I never expected it was going to be that big. And so I joke with my guides, is the second one going to be that big? Because I don't know if I can go through that again. And they said, no, this one's going to be easier. We'll see.
That's awesome. And could you tell us a little bit more about your business, Anumani Speaks, and about your programs?
Yeah, so Anumani Speaks is the name of my business. And I have, different programs. One of my main communities is called Portal of Love, and it's a virtual community. And every month we get together and I do 2 live transmissions. It's all recorded and it's put in your member site. And I also do a guided activation every month that's recorded, and an oracle message. And so that community is really the foundation of a lot of the work that I do, where I'm bringing a lot of the sound alchemy together. And then I also have some mentoring programs. The main one is my Soul Love Mastery, which is based on the Soul Chambers of Light in the book that I just mentioned. I do have, healing packages where I do sound alchemy healing on people. And I have a free show that I do every Monday on the Enlightened World Network. If you come to my website, anumanispeaks.com, you'll see links to the show and the transmissions that I do. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is under Anumani Santos, all the recordings are there, and it's every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and it's called Sound Alchemy for Your Soul.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And I understand that you have a special gift for our listeners. Can you tell us about your gift and how can listeners access it?
Yes. So it's a free chapter and a meditation from the book. It's from chapter 1, which is about divine love. And if you go to anumanispeaks.com/unmasking-your-soul-freebie, FREEBIE. It's also on the navigation bar. It just says free chapter and meditation. If you click on that on my website, it's going to take you to a page. And on that page, if you put your name and your email, you'll immediately get the free download of Chapter 1 of Unmasking Your Soul and the free meditative activation from Chapter 1. And you can also sign up for a free consultation on that page where, I give you free 20 minutes so we can connect. And if there's something that you're dealing with, your own dark night of the soul, and anything that you want to ask about, we can use that time to support you on your spiritual journey.
Thank you. Thank you for such a great and generous gift, Anumani. Real quick, I wanted to ask you if you have any final comments of inspiration that you'd like to share with our listeners.
Yes, just to always follow your heart. It is through your heart that your soul speaks to you. And, love is the alchemy. So keep loving yourself fearlessly and fiercely. Love yourself in that way.
Thank you so much for those kind words. And, I believe that anything that encourages or forces us to look at our life from a more spiritual perspective is likely to set us on a path to awakening. I'd just like to say thank you to my friend and heart sister Anumani for being a wonderful guest today and for sharing your wisdom and your gift with us. It's been such a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this time with us. And a special thank you to the Voice America team for making this show a reality. We have a great lineup of future guests who will be on our show, which airs every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, and 12 noon Eastern Time. So I hope you will tune in next week when our topic will be Put Your Soul Between the Lines. If you enjoyed today's show, please tell others so we can continue to grow our community. I am Dr. Veronica, your host of Something Happened, Seniors Accounts of Overcoming Challenges, coming to you from Voice America Empowerment. So until next time, remember to live, laugh, and be happy.
Thanks for listening to the Something Happened Talk Show, Seniors Accounts of Overcoming Challenges. We hope we have inspired you with our stories today. Until the next time we share, have a wonderful week.